esoteric astrology, the main thrust is not predictive, because when somebody comes for a reading, you don't know the level of evolution of that soul. You don't know where that soul is in this moment. So a spiritual astrologer must not only present the potential inherent in a chart, but must also express the opportunities to become whole. So the whole point, we are going through separate facets. So say we took the North Node, or we took the Ascendant, or we took the, we're going to hit the Moon the next time. But we have to understand, when we have a transit, like right now we have Saturn in the final degrees of Scorpio, it could be affecting you very deeply. But remember, there are 10 facets to your chart and planets. So when people look at something like Saturn, which is what they call a maleficent planet, which means it's supposed to be a toughie, it's supposed to be a force of discipline and burdens and karma and severely restricting movement to go deeper. But actually, every planet and every aspect can serve you in an ultimately positive way through unraveling the soul and bringing you to a state of greater understanding. So there's nothing more dangerous than a, how would I call it, a novice astrologer taking someone's chart and castigating them for certain squares or oppositions, or this is going to come up and this is going to be terrible for you, or using it in an analytical, predictive way without having the wisdom, the life experience, and the deep understanding of wholeness and how each part of the chart is chosen by the soul at a particular moment in time to bring you to a greater state of integration and a greater state of transcending the polarities within your own being. So the purpose of spiritual astrology is not predictive. It is to transcend the polarities within you that appear to be confronting you from the outer world and appear to be wreaking havoc in your life, but the havoc is contained within. So when we're under what one would call a particularly difficult configuration in the chart, for example, a square, where one planet is in 90-degree angle to one of your planets, and so, or two of your planets, and actually those can be magnificent times to start new projects, because there's an edgy angst and push from within to change something that is no longer serving you. So say, for example, Saturnian natures can at times be depressive or focus on the burdens of life. And the Saturnian soul or a Saturnian aspect pushing at you in your chart can actually make you confront taking yourself too seriously or being isolated to the extreme, or being depressive or feeling that life is hard on you. Because the essence of spiritual astrology is literally saying, and you'll see some charts as time goes by, and we go deeper and deeper each class, you will see some charts where things are pretty easy. The life is not wrought with a bunch of continual, endless challenges. And so we look at that, but then there's not that internal push for dramatic shift in one's own being, because we all know as humans that when we're confronted with death or loss of the health of a loved one or money or job or a sense of inner peace, that we have two choices. We can either sink into that morass of suffering, which we all will do for a while, or we can use all suffering as an opportunity for growth and ultimately find a golden path through the inner potential that is contained within the essence of your chart. So the essence of the spiritual astrologer is to show you the opportunities that exist within you, the soul gifts that you were blessed with, and the confrontational challenges that you as a soul came in to overcome. So you will see some charts that are, you know, you get, again, back to that novice exoteric astrologist will look at some and go, this is a disaster, or this person's got a terribly difficult chart. I've had people like that come to me with what you would think would be the most god-awful mess. Those people have, with great soul and great deliberation and self-reflection, have taken those aspects and actually, with the help of a good astrologer and with the help of a good spiritual inner understanding, plus other factors in their life and having a strong soul, have actually moved vast distances and covered much territory in one lifetime and reduced their karma immensely. Now, Saturn is called the planet of being the Lord of karma. So it is karma. We always think of karma in terms of bad karma, but we have within our chart benevolent good karma, and we have challenging karma, all in the initial natal chart we chose. We chose it all. So if we start to look at our chart as a key to inner transcendental shift, and how can I get there, and where do I start, and drop the predictive and drop time, is this going to happen in 6 months, is this going to happen in a year, and say, how can I gain deeper understanding? How can I hear my soul more? How can I become a spiritually aware being and transcend the mental machinations of my brain and move to a place of gentility and peace and inner solace that I can uncover even when I face my own death. So if we think about it, if we go to the core essence of being, the soul initially did not come in to experience a painful birth or a painful death. These have all been soul gatherings through choices of different personalities in different lifetimes that have brought on suffering, and then how do we wade through the suffering to deeper understanding so we reach places of mystical liberation where we actually move beyond. It's not like we're not grounded in the material world and realize that we must deal with practical matters, but we don't let that rule our life. We are, the whole essence, the whole goal of our life is greater self-awareness and radiant illumination of being. And so every single transit that will come your way, and every single square or opposition or difficult conjunction. Conjunction means when one planet sits on another, and it's a difficult planet sitting on another planet. And so it's creating a lot of agitation within, which we will discuss in one class how that works. Instead of looking at all those things as negatives, we'll say, for example, I will give my chart. I have Mars in Scorpio, square Pluto in Leo. So in my life, I've drawn unto myself people that are very dynamic, powerful, passionate, and can be incredibly, intensely violent. At one period, I had to deal with that. I was not a victim to that. I was learning how to walk through the road of somebody using ego to the extreme, which probably means in another life that I abused my will or took my will, or in this life would be given power and had to understand the abuse of power. So rather than looking at my life as being victimized by someone, to understand I chose those situations to understand what because there's this Mars in Scorpio is a very powerful Mars will, and it's a great if you use it as a healer, but Mars square Pluto in Leo, the Pluto in Leo being the purification of the ego, squaring the will. Every time I try to abuse my will, which of course I have, it's never ever worked for me. I never get away with it. Where somebody else might get away with something like that, and then they have something else that they're overcoming. But I don't confront that issue anymore. I think that I learned it in some way through a lot of situations in life and learning about surrender and all of that. But what I'm trying to say is that within your chart, as we slowly wade through the greatest challenges within your chart, and most of you have pretty strong charts. It's interesting. I think all of you came to the class to grow a lot in awareness or to gain greater understanding of your own life and your own proclivities, and rather than to fall victim to them, to find a way out of that labyrinth of suffering, which is all of us. We're all in this together, and we all have those moments. So getting back to Saturn, Saturn is that planet of karma, and it makes an individual's life in many ways the result of his past action. And if you really go into the deep esoteric studies of the great mystics or of people like Manly P. Hall, who was a great metaphysical philosopher and writer, or the great esoteric astrologers such as Dane Rudyard or Alan Leo or Martin Schulman. These are great esoteric astrologers. They will tell you and confirm, but you also will know, I'm sure all of you have this knowing within yourself, this isn't the first time you've been here. And for most of us, it's not the last, even though everybody likes to rave that they're an old soul and this is their last life. It's not usually so. We must well allow ourselves to understand that this is a path that is got some time to it. And the more progress and the more listening and the more spiritual awareness we can gain in this life, the easier it will become. Now, with karma, I would also like to express that we don't always come into a life and expiate all the karma of that life and merrily trot into our next life without any karma. Sometimes we create more karma. So this is why the path of self-realization is so important, because it enlarges and speeds up the process of burning away the negative karma.